Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here today with Yamaha's XSR700. This is the Lambs version here in Australia, but it is no different than the full power version you'll get elsewhere in the world. And I wanted to look at the ergonomics and rider fit of this particular bike to give you a bit of an idea of how you may fit the bike based on essentially how I find it. And personally at 180 centimeters, 32-inch inseam, I find this a very easy bike to jump onto. The seat is a little bit taller than on some of the other options kind of in this segment. However, I still do find that manageable with the 32-inch inseam. It's got nice relaxed bars. It is a more relaxed machine overall than the MT-07, even though the commonalities between these two bikes are very, very strong. The main differences between the two is this has the 835mm seat height and it has a very different seat design, and that gives it, of course, a different reach to the ground and seat to peg ratio. It's also got the taller and slightly further back bars, and it's got a nice sweep back on those bars, which give it a little bit more of a relaxed feel in comparison to the MT-07, and it kind of demonstrates how some small changes to the ergonomics can actually give the bike quite a different feel. Personally, I actually probably would prefer the XSR700. The only downside there is, of course, that this demands about a $1,000 premium over the MT-07, for which you're getting some styling changes and things like that, but it does make it a little bit more of an investment in an already premium kind of beginner to intermediate 650 machine. All right, so I will jump on board the bike now to give you a little bit of an idea of really how I fit the bike, I guess, and the seating position. So hopefully, as you can see here, I've got both feet down flat. The bike is nice and narrow for putting your legs down when you are standing with the bike. And of course, because the seat is nice and narrow at the front, it also kind of helps you. If you are a little bit shorter, you'll be able to move a little bit to the side on the seat quite naturally, get that foot down very, very easily. So that is nice to see as well. The reach to the bars leaves me in a very upright seating position. And because that single round dash is kind of raised up there, it's very easy to be watching the road, and also you just glance down, you can see the dash, it's great. Same goes for the mirrors. While they're probably not the most stylish mirrors in some people's minds, there's good vision through those and it works really well. Quite simple switch blocks. On the left, you do have a toggle for the dash, which takes you through the additional modes. And when I say modes, the displays on the mode, there are no electronics really on this bike except for the ABS, and that gives you the odo, trip meters, and your clock, which is something that I always like to have on a bike because I like to be able to check what time it is. Apart from that, you are getting some adjustable levers, or an adjustable lever, I should say, on the brake side of things. You do not get an adjustable clutch lever. They're blacked out levers now, and it seems a bit strange to me that you'd put an adjustable brake lever on but not the clutch, because I do feel like this is a little bit more on the premium end of things, being 13.7 here on the road in Australia. So again, I fit the bike nicely. I am on the longer leg side of things. I fit into the tank quite easily. I can really lock into the bike quite easily too, and certainly getting up, kind of getting my toes up on the pegs and really getting engaged in the bike is no issue at all. And it's a very easy bike to kind of hustle through the corners and have some fun on. The seat is quite wide towards the rear of the seat, and for 2 hours in the saddle, I found it quite good. When I'd spent about 5 hours in the saddle and I was doing the trip home and doing some freeway miles and just really plodded down on that seat, not so great. Now, obviously this is not a touring bike, so it's very much a bit of a compromise. There's no wind protection. It is the naked bike styling, but a little bit more relaxed than the MT-07. I would say the seat is quite a bit more comfortable than the stock MT-07 seat just because of the design. And it's also, of course, the retro design. It's got this nice kind of leather style to it, which is nice to see. And you've got a decent pillion perch on the back there for short trips. Again, certainly not a bike that I would say is naturally inclined to touring, but you could do longer rides on this quite easily. You'll just want to take your brakes and jump off the bike, get some blood flowing through your behind to make sure that it doesn't get sore. But for a stock seat on this style of bike, I thought it was really exceptional. Reasonable pillion seat and reach to those pillion pegs there. As you can see, obviously it's a shorter throw to their pegs than it is to the rider pegs. And so, like I said, shorter trips for a pillion shouldn't be an issue. There's no grab rail or anything like that. And certainly if you've got a larger pillion, they might find that seat a little bit small, but it is what it is on these style of bikes. Other features on this particular machine, the 835mm seat height, as I said, it is on the taller side of things, but I'd say it's offset somewhat by the bike being nice and narrow. It only weighs 186 kilos as well, so it's somewhat of a light machine. I would say, you know, for a 650, it's right in the ballpark of where you'd want kind of that figure to be. And as a result of that, I think that's very manageable. It does give you the full bike feel in comparison to something smaller, like maybe an MT-03 and a lot of the 300 to 400cc options. It does take full size tires as well on those 17-inch rims. The one downside from an ergonomics perspective, I guess I would say, is non-adjustable forks and only preload adjustability on the rear, which gives you a very limited kind of range of adjustment on this particular bike to get it to suit you. However, at the same time, I would say that it's a nicely rounded setup that should suit a wide variety of riders without needing too much adjustability. If this bike is not kind of covering the adjustability you want in the chassis, you should probably be looking up at the XSR700 or the MT-09 as an alternative for this bike, because that's very much the next step up. So if you've got any questions about the XSR700's ergonomics and the rider fit, particularly in comparison to me, just let me know down below in the comments. I would do my best to answer your questions as always. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll be back soon.